Sad news tonight. Former First Lady Nancy Reagan has died at her home in Bel Air, California at the age of 94. She was married to President Ronald Reagan for 52 years until his death in 2004. Kenneth Gregg has more.
She arrived in Hollywood as Nancy Davis and was already a working actress when her future husband entered the scene.
I was afraid you wouldn't come.
She acted in 11 feature films before becoming a full-time mother to Patty and Ron, then First Lady of California, and a few years later, First Lady of the White House.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear.
2 months after his inauguration, President Reagan survived an assassination attempt that helped shape Nancy Reagan's self-appointed role in the White House. As personal protector for the president, she reviewed his schedules and consulted an astrologer for advice on security.
I was so obsessed with his safety that anytime he went out of the house, I think my heart stopped.
That devotion went both ways. Friends called the Reagans' marriage the greatest love affair in the history of the American presidency. As they settled into Washington, Mrs. Reagan launched an ambitious renovation of the White House, then moved on to the anti-drug project that became part of her legacy. Her Just Say No campaign swept across the country and into schools, eventually bringing her to the United Nations as the first First Lady to address the General Assembly. She stayed on the sideline of political policy, but was there when her husband couldn't find the words.
Doing everything we can. Doing everything we can.
A few years after leaving the White House, Ronald Reagan announced his battle with Alzheimer's disease, and Nancy devoted herself to nursing her husband as his mind slipped away.
That's the worst part about this disease. There's nobody to exchange memories with.
After Ronald Reagan's death, she put herself at odds with other Republicans by pushing for federal funding for stem cell research to try to find a cure for Alzheimer's.
We've lost so much time already, and I just really can't bear to lose any more.
She traveled to Washington for the unveiling of her husband's statue, and she kept a hand in politics, endorsing John McCain's run for the White House in 2008.
This is the nominee of the party.
Nancy Reagan suffered falls and visibly slowed with age. She was escorted by former President George W. Bush at the 2011 funeral of fellow former First Lady Betty Ford. But her last years were lonely. She visited her husband's grave on the 10th anniversary of his death, as she did every year, even as she grew more frail. She once said the pain of his loss only got worse. Kenneth Craig, CBS News.